HCPX, we are here. Cali X Boxing, D Style Boxing, and we're here with special guest Ginny Fuchs. And first of all, did I pronounce that correctly? Because I
That
am
was
known to butcher names.
that was pretty close. I mean, technically that's kind of how you say it because it's German based, but my family pronounce it Fuchs.
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 Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Fuchs.
all right. We
Nice.
learn something new every day. I want to start off with that. Talk to us about the way people have pronounced your last name,
Well, I've
because
got
there's a way. I don't want to say it, but like I remember I was like, wait, is that how do you say
yeah,
it?
I've got many versions of my last name. Um, specifically one in mind that you guys are probably thinking about. When I traveled the world, and even when I was first came onto the boxing scene here in America, and I went to national tournaments, they pronounced it the wrong way that most people would think when you glance at it. So yeah, I've had that many a times.
That's interesting. Okay, like the middle finger pronunciation, right?
The middle finger, yeah, the middle finger pronunciation. I
So
should
and then
just do that. I should just put Ginny and then a middle finger after my name and be like, that's my
there you
last
go.
name.
I
Hey,
like that
hey, that's a
nickname.
shirt right there. You can sell
For
T-shirts
sure.
with that.
Yeah.
Just
It
have a
is.
pirate throwing the finger or something.
Right? I
So,
like that.
Jeannie, this will be your third pro fight in New
Right.
Orleans. I'm here in South Louisiana, and we've been begging for a big event to come back down here. It's been the last one I can remember I was at was Roy Jones when he fought here about 22, 23 years ago when the New Orleans arena first opened up. So, where are you training at right now? Are you at New Orleans Boxing Club with Regis?
No. I'm here in Houston. I'm born and raised in Houston, and after the Olympics, I moved back home to Houston to start my pro career because my team lives here. So I train out of kind of train out of two gyms. Train out of Baby Bull Boxing. I train with Juan Diaz's
Mm,
old trainer, Derwin Richards. And then I train out of Maine Boxing too, and that's where Regis trains here in Houston as well.
gotcha. Now, is that where you came to know Regis? Have you known him for a while?
So I'm trying to think when we first met. I know we first met when in Louisiana, but we didn't really know each other that well. We had just met. But when I graduated from LSU and moved back to Houston and started training in gyms here, that's kind of where I really met Regis and we became friends and stuff. And then he introduced me to Evans Tobler, his strength and conditioning coach,
Mhm.
who is now mine. And so me and Regis trained together when we worked with Evans. And we've been, I guess I started working with Evans in 2013.
Okay.
So how
Yeah.
did you pick up boxing initially? I know you from what I've seen, you turned amateur, your amateur career started what, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. So how did you pick it up and how long were you active boxing in gyms before you actually started your amateur career?
So I don't know if many people know this part of my story. I know some do. So I went to LSU as a walk on the cross country and track team.
Okay.
I was a big runner back in the day. My freshman year, I I did a prank, no big deal. Just broke down a door in the West
Damn.
Campus apartments, where the athletes stay on
Uh-huh.
campus. And my friend, we did it on my friend. He thought someone had broken into his room and stole his Xbox because I ended up hiding his Xbox. He ended up calling the LSU police. We didn't know this, but they came over and I'm like, it was a joke. His Xbox is in the bathroom. I'll pay for the door. I'm sorry. But they arrested me for that. They literally read me my rights, arrested me, brought me down to the LSU police station on campus. I got a misdemeanor summons and had to go to court and everything for it. But I was kicked off the team for that. Coach
Wow.
Schaefer, wasn't, putting up with any bullshit that year. And he was
Damn.
like, nope, that one mistake, you're off. So I got kicked off my
So
freshman
so
year.
so rewind. When you say you broke down, like what do you mean you broke the door? Like you like kicked it or like you just punched it or something? What you do?
So his roommate bet me $100 that I couldn't break down his door, and he wasn't there at the
And
time.
you just had to take this bet, right?
Well, he pulled out $100, and you're a freshman in college. $100, you're like, hell, I'm gonna do it. So all I did was just use my shoulder and just kind of like, counted to like 3, 1, 2, 3, and rammed it with my shoulder. Those doors aren't very heavy,
Okay.
kind of flimsy, and so I just kind of broke. I mean, I didn't break it down. I just broke the like a big piece of the frame of the door and the lock, obviously.
Kind of aggressive there.
That shouldn't be an arrestable offense. I mean, come on.
I know. Well, they said it was destruction of school property, so I'm like, wow, really? Okay.
I mean, kind of aggressive, right? Like breaking down. I wonder, like, wow, I wonder why you became a boxer, right? But, but what? So I think you're already getting there, but I mean, this is a very, very. It's more dangerous in the ring than to break down a flimsy door. So,
right?
Why boxing? It's a very dangerous sport. Like, why this sport?
So when I got kicked off, I've been an athlete all my life and competed literally, I think, since, elementary days. I've just always been competing in some kind of sport. So when I got kicked off the team, I Coach Schaefer, he was like, call me in a year and I'll decide if I want to let you back on the team. But I enjoyed a good year of, college life. But then when I called him, he decided, no, I've decided not to let you back on. But during that year, I had met a professional boxer from Baton Rouge. I don't know if you guys know, he doesn't box anymore, but his name is John Revish. And he trained out of 14th Street in Baton Rouge. So I had met him and was watching him train. And, since when Coach Schaefer said, I'm not going to let you back on the team, I go to John and was like, you know what? I'm not going to be able to run anymore. I want to try this box. So he brought me into 14th Street Gym. And, that first day, it's Coach David, who's, I think, still the coach there. He said, I see a lot of potential in you. If you want, I'll train you and to fight. And I was like, let's do it. When he said that, I was like, I'm all in. And I just kept on going back and started, training for my first fight. So I got, a good couple of fights. I think I even won I won the Louisiana Golden Gloves. And then I went to my first national tournament in 2010, which was the Women's National Golden Gloves. And that's where they first announced that they were adding female boxing to the Olympics. So I look at Coach David and I go, let's do it. I'm ready. I want to go to the Olympics. And, once that happened, I graduated from LSU in 2011, moved back to Houston, and just was grinding and trying to get to my goal of becoming Olympian.
Do you use the shoulder move with the door like in boxing sometimes? You show them who's boss in the ring?
Right. If a girl's trying to put her weight on me, I'll, bump her off of me.
Now tell us about how the Olympic experience went for you, how that process went. Did you consider it a success, etc.?
So I qualified for the Olympic trials for the for the 2012 Olympics. And that was the first Olympics. Obviously, they had female boxing. Obviously, didn't make that team. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to go for 2016. And I don't know if you guys kind of know how, I know you know Marlene Esparza. But in between that time after the London Games and the 2016 Olympic trials, me and her were big rivals. She's also from Houston. And we fought at the finals and nationals every year. I think we fought at the PAL twice. So she had beat me 5 times leading up to the 2016 Olympic trials. And out of those 4, I'd say out of those 4 out of the 5, I got robbed. And a lot of people in the boxing, community really kind of, thought those decisions were bad. It was just really controversial. And so we had this big, rivalry going on all those years. And then the Olympic trials came for 2016 Olympics, and I beat her twice because it's a double elimination tournament, and, took her Olympic dream away. And so that put me as the number 1 spot in the flyweight division in America. And I had moved to Colorado Springs to live at the Olympic Training Center, along with Michaela and Clarissa. We all moved. The whole 2016 Olympic team moved up there to train for Rio. And then, there's a second process to get to the Olympics. You have to qualify your weight class for your country at an international qualification tournament. And there was 2 chances to do that. Unfortunately, I came up short in both tournaments. So I didn't actually get to compete in Rio, but USA Boxing had named me team captain of the of the 2016 Olympic boxing team. And so I still went with the team to, support and just, get the Olympic experience. And my plan was to turn pro after the 2016 Olympics, but I was so close to getting to the Olympics, and I knew, like, if I try again, I'm definitely going to get there. And I was like, am I going to pass this opportunity of becoming an Olympian, or should I just go pro? And I just couldn't pass it up. So I decided to go for another Olympic squad for Tokyo. And as you guys know, I made it and got to compete in Tokyo.
Do
There you
you
go.
do you feel like that was a good decision? And with the reason I asked that is with the explosion that we're seeing now with female boxing, do you wish maybe you would have turned pro 4 years sooner, or are you okay with that decision? Do you live okay with that decision?
Right. So I kind of, been going back and forth on this, because if I'm 35 years old right now, and I think that is holding me back right now from getting signed from, the promoters out there because of my age. And they think like, oh, she's 35. I don't think we can invest in her because she won't, there's not enough time. And so if I turned pro 4 years ago, it would have been a different story. I probably would have been signed off the bat. I probably would have, been a, undisputed world champ. I probably would have had a lot more money. But then again, I wouldn't have been Olympian, and just going to the Olympics and being Olympian is, 1% of the world is able to do that. And I can say I'm in that 1%, and that's pretty cool to me. So I can't say I don't regret it, but then again, like now my situation as a pro, I'm not getting, it's hard for me to get fights right now. I only have 2 fights. I haven't fought since October. No one's really interested in signing me right now. Again, I know part of it's because of my age, and I don't want to say I'm broke, but my financials is not how I thought it would be at the moment. So I'm kind of back to hustling to make ends meet so I can still pursue my professional boxing career.
Who is the one more detail? Who is the promoter that you would like to work with the most? Is it Matchroom because of what they've got going on over there, or is it someone else here?
I honestly don't care which. I don't have like I want to be with Top Rank, I want to be with Matchroom or Golden Boy. There's not someone I want to be with. I want to just be with someone that will give me the best offer, and whoever really believes in me and knows that I don't need time to become an undisputed champion. Like, just give me the fights and I'll do it. I don't need to have 10, 12 fights before I get a shot for a world title. I can shoot after this fight, give me a world title shot. I'm ready. And as long as whoever signs me believes in me and will give me that opportunity, that's fine with me.
Well, I want to go back to Marlene for a little bit because she's currently a unified champion, right? I believe you fight in the same weight class, right? 112. You're there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I fought at 112 for my first fight. I fought at 116 for my second fight. Fighting at
Okay.
115 for this fight. But yeah, I'm in that
Okay,
range.
so you're around there. I do remember 2012. It was a big year for women's boxing because it wasn't the Olympics. But from the American side, I do remember it almost felt like it was the Marlene show on NBC. Sometimes, like she was the one with the big sponsorships. They were talking about her more than all the other girls, almost. Do you think the decisions? Because I know you said you felt, or a lot of people felt, there were robberies. Do you think they were influenced by her name or her status?
Oh, definitely. So by the time I fought her, she had got a bronze medal in London. That's the first time I fought her at the Nationals right after the 2012 Olympics. But yeah, so by then she was a bronze medalist. I think she was a 9-time national champion, and then there's me, who was like the beginning of my career. I'm still kind of new in the game, and yeah, I was doing really well and I was making it to the finals, but I still didn't really have much experience or had done much in the amateurs yet. So I definitely think that had a big influence on the judges' decisions.
Okay. Because of course, are there any other girls that maybe are pro right now that were rivals of yours throughout your amateur career, like when you were trying to qualify?
I mean, she's the main one, obviously, in America. I mean, maybe in other countries, I don't know. I wouldn't not the rival like me and Marlon. I mean,
Okay.
there's girls out there that I would like to fight, but just because they've had a name for themselves and they might have a belt, but then it's not really rivalry like me and Marlon.
Right. So look, I seen girls are 3-0 getting title shots. I'm seeing all so it's not like you're not a novice to boxing. You've been doing this for years, right? So fuck it. What do you want to say to Marlene? Is there any message you want to put out if she's watching this or is gonna watch this? She will watch this. Any message you want to put out? Like, do you want to fight her soon?
Well, yeah, I would love to. Yeah, let's make the fight. Let's continue this rivalry we have. Let's have a big show in Houston. I mean, we're both from Houston, so let's keep this going. Let's, fight me. Don't wait till I have. I don't want to wait to make it mandatory. I'm ready. Let's do it.
They're basically going to try to age you out, right?
Yeah,
Is that what's
I
going to
know.
happen?
So they're gonna try to probably wait it out.
So what message do you have about that? Like, how are you? Age is one thing, but how do you feel? Like, do you think you could do this for a while? Like, how's the hourglass?
Well, I still feel I'm 35, but I feel like I'm 25, and I know I look like I'm 25. So no, I feel good. I honestly, I mean, I think what's helped me is I started boxing in college. I was 21 years old, almost 22 years old. So I don't have all those years of the beating down of my body from boxing. Yes, I've been boxing since like 16 years now, which is a long time, but I still am good. I'm still in my prime. I'm just, I think I can still do it for a while now. Yeah.
Now, I liked your answer when Kelly asked you, "Is there a promoter you would like to go to?" I liked your answer because it's a very pirate answer. Like it's kind of like, I'm gonna go wherever the gold is. Like whoever has it, I'm there. So talk to me about this captain thing, this pirate thing. First of all, do you have a good hook? You got a good hook in the ring? 'Cause if you're a pirate, you need a good hook.
Yes, I have actually. So I fight southpaw, right? But I'm a right-handed person. So my jab, which I call it drawing my sword. Me and Michaela have come up with pirate terms when I'm fighting. Anyway, so my jab is drawing the sword, and then my right hook is good because I'm a right-handed person, so I have a strong right hand.
Okay, and what's with the pirate thing? You just grew up liking pirates?
Yeah. So yeah, my parents are big water people, boating, fishing, water skiing people. So in fact, if you want to see, I'll just kind of show you, right? I live in Seabrook.
She even lives in a place that sounds like a pirate.
South
Seabrook.
So see, there's the bay.
Wow.
That's my view.
Okay. Wow. That is nice, actually.
So, and this is Galveston Bay, and Clear Lake is kind of like more towards that way. But anyways, I kind of grew up in Clear Lake, Galveston Bay area, and I've been on the water and I just love the boat life and being on the water and the whole idea of pirates. Just kind of I don't know. I just like the idea of sailing on the sea, being free, doing whatever you want. So I just considered myself kind of like a little pirate. And when I became captain of the 2016 Olympic team, I kind of just played that role of being like the captain of my ship. And I was telling, everybody on the team, I was like, okay, guys, you're my crew. We're on a voyage to go get the gold. Let's do it. And I would always do like the warm up, and I would always do like pirate commands. And so they started just calling me the captain, the pirate.
Can you give us like like how were your like? Can you verbalize your pirate commands?
So I would be like, fire the cannon, or surrender the booty, or heave ship. And it would be a certain exercise of the warm up that we would do. And
Okay.
the team, they knew what that meant. So they would do it. And of course, they thought it was hilarious, maybe a little corny, but then they kind of were like, yeah, they loved it at the same time.
All right. So you're right-handed, but you box southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
Was that just how you felt comfortable? Did someone teach you that way? How did that come about?
So my first coach in Baton Rouge, I didn't know what, I've never stepped in a boxing gym till, I was 21 years old. But he just told me, he goes, all right, get in this position, throw the jab. And that was orthodox, right? And then he goes, get in this position, throw the jab. Which feels better? And obviously my right hand feels better. He goes, all right, that's the way you're going to fight. And I didn't even know that was a left-handed stance. He just said, that's how you're going to fight. And so I trained that way for like 2 years, and obviously had 6, 5, 6, 7 fights. And then when I moved back to Houston and started with the coach that I first was working with when I got to Houston, he goes, wait, why are you in southpaw? Aren't you a right-handed person? I go, yeah, what do you mean? He goes, well, you're in a left-handed stance. So I didn't even know that until like 3 years after I was boxing.
Yeah, it's not. Right. I mean, it's not the norm, but it's not. De La Hoya was left-handed. He was taught orthodox. Cotto, same thing. There's other fighters kind of reverse. I don't know. Maybe you just felt comfortable with your dominant hand in front of you.
Yeah, Winky was right-handed and fought southpaw. Winky right, so it's done. I wanted to ask you this.
I know Shakur. He's a right-handed person. He fights southpaw.
Now I have this before you ask your question. So one little thing though, like usually, not all the time, but a lot of times those fighters, they're like known for that one big punch, but they're not known as being two-handed. Like De La Hoya wasn't really known for his right hand. Really, it was like the jab and the hook. Like, how is your straight left? Is it solid? Is it still good?
It's good. Yeah, actually, I don't know if y'all watched any of my pro fights, but both of the girls in my first fights, I was killing them with my straight left every time. Like I would, and that's one thing I like to do. I kind of don't want to say it to give it away, but I like to lead with my left hand a lot. Like use it as a jab. I do it all the time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you this. This is being asked to a lot of women out there, and for a reason. Now, especially for you with your style, you obviously have a cross-country background, so I'm assuming you have good conditioning. On top of that, from what I'm told, you're a strong fighter. So do the 2-minute rounds bother you? Would you rather see things go to 3-minute rounds for women's boxing? Or are you okay with it?
No, I definitely wish it was 3 minutes. For me, I like to kind of pace myself, and obviously 3 minutes gives you more time to pace. I still do well with 2 minutes, and don't get me wrong. It's just, why not do the same as the men? Why not just have it be how it always is, 3-minute rounds in boxing? Why has it got to change for women? And then also, I think it would give the women, it would be more exciting for us. Like the fights would be more exciting for the audience. We'd probably get more knockouts. And I know you guys probably have heard that before, that if we had 3 minutes, more exciting fights, more knockouts. Yeah. And hopefully, and I think, and honestly, actually, I thought it would have already changed by now. So I'm still kind of curious why it hasn't, but I feel like it will eventually change.
Yep.
Well, it's mainly the WBC right now. Mauricio Suleiman doesn't think the women's anatomy can take the punishment like the men.
Yeah, that's right. I do. I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna be in New Orleans for this fight. I'll be ringside, so I look forward to it. Do you know what point in the lineup you're at on this undercard? Do you know that yet?
Yeah, no, I don't know yet, but I can let you guys know when I do.
Yep, I look forward to seeing it. I'll see you down in New Orleans.
Sounds good. Yeah, I've been waiting out of anywhere. I always said I hope I can fight on a big card in New Orleans. When I turned pro, that's what I was thinking. And thanks to Regis, he really helped me get on this card.
Yeah, I heard that that's one of the reasons he signed with Matchroom is Eddie gave him not permission, but leverage to put who he wants on undercard. So I think that was one of the reasons why he signed with Matchroom as opposed to Top Rank.
Right.
But go ahead, D-Style.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it looks like obviously Eddie Hearn and not just Eddie Hearn. You have Boxer. Like the UK is very heavy in promoting women's boxing right now. Like they're going hard at the moment, and it seems like those women over there are getting all the opportunities for the most part because that's where the money's at because of the promoters. Um, would you consider in any way, shape, or form if someone made you the right offer to move out of the country, move to the UK, or something like that?
Yeah, if the offer was right and I was able to bring my team over, and yeah, I would definitely do it. Just depends on like how that would look, because I'm not going to leave my team behind in Houston. Heck no. If I'm able to bring my team with me, I'm definitely down. And I fought in the UK in October on that all-female card.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys are right. It was totally different over there. Totally just the fans were different, just a different respect for boxing in general. But definitely for the women too. And I love fighting over there, so I want to fight over there again for sure.
Now, I want to give a shout out to Christine Lopez, Coach
Yeah.
Christine. One thing she's mentioned, I've heard her say this several times, is that you're very strong. Like she really makes an emphasis on how strong you are, right? Um, why do you think that is? Like, is there something specific in your strength and conditioning? Maybe your athletic past or something specific that makes you stronger than your average boxer in there?
Just in my DNA.
It's a pirate DNA.
It's just in that pirate DNA. You got to be strong. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just think, I've been doing athletics all my life, and I've been taking care of my body, and I just train the right way. And I mean, yeah, that's a big part of it. And yeah, I got to give a lot of props to Evans, my strength coach. Because again, when I started working with him in 2013, it totally changed, everything for me. My game changed. I was stronger. I was faster. My punch output was high, and obviously, look at what I've accomplished since I worked with him. So a lot of it has to do with Evans and my training with him. I mean, look at Regis. He trains with him, and Regis,
Well,
he's been doing very well. He's strong. He punches nonstop. It's again thanks to Evans.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Any sponsors you want to shout out or anything like that?
I'm still working on getting sponsors for this fight.
Okay.
But definitely Federal Grill has always supported me. They're here in Houston, Texas. Matt Price is the owner. He's one of my big sponsors. And Republic State Mortgage here in Houston have helped me out. Those are my two main sponsors. Oh, sorry. My last one is Mo Artis. He's a lawyer here in Houston, and he trains out of Baby Bull, and I work with him a lot. So those are my three main sponsors that have supported me since I've turned pro, and I know they will for the rest of my career.
Yeah, look, I really hope we get that Marlena Esparza fight sooner than later. I think it'll be a big fight in Houston.
Yeah.
I think we could get it done. Why not? I've seen some of the girls Marlene's fought lately. I mean, she could do better. She could bring up her level of competition a little bit. I'm just saying. So why not fight an Olympian? So
Right.
that's what I say. We want to thank you, Jenny, for joining us. And anything you want to say to the people watching before you got to go?
Well, please, guys, come out to New Orleans, and all my LSU fans, bring that purple and gold love. I'm gonna be wearing my purple gold in the ring. I hope to see you guys there where it all started. I'm excited. See you guys June 17th at the Smoothie Kingston. Go
Appreciate
Tigers!
it. Good luck. Good luck. Go Tigers. Good luck.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye.
I hope that fight is made now, D-Style. We need to send this out and get that fight made.
Tell me.
We might be matchmakers now. And I want everybody to hit that like button. By the way, this is HCPX. Let's get it going on this hump day. Great interview. We'll be sending the clips out for that. And we got some boxing news to talk about as well. Before I get into that, I want to tell the people out there to make sure to join the mailing list. The mail, where you send this to, hcpboxingtribe@gmail.com. The mailing list is live. So just send us an email. It can be a blanket email. You can tell us, hey, I think you guys are awesome. I think you guys are ugly, whatever you want. Just put in the subject mailing list, and we will add you to the mailing list. And this will be a daily email that's sent out, newsletter, and we'll be sending everybody out when the podcast will be live, the weekly schedule, because what we're finding out is YouTube is really bad with the algorithms. YouTube is really good at hiding certain shows and et cetera, and promoting other ones. So we want to get directly to the people. The old school is the best way, D-Style. Just get directly to the people. Push our content out that way.
We're not going to ask permission no more. We're not going to beg YouTube anymore.
We're not going to beg YouTube anymore. We're getting straight to the people, going straight to the reason we started this. D-Style and I are old school. YouTube, YTBC, going back a decade plus. And it used to be a very different thing back then, where it was inclusive to anybody who was a hardcore boxing fan. We could get on here and talk boxing. It's not that way anymore. It's just not that way anymore. It's very tribal. So we decided to start our own tribe. And our tribe is a wandering tribe that has been left by the boxing power brokers. We're not into the clickbait. We're not into joining certain tribes based off of whatever is out there. We just want to have a tribe where we can get on here and talk with hardcore boxing fans and push our agenda as hardcore boxing fans. And that's it. And we want to get directly to the people. But some news today, Rolly Romero has been mandated by the WBA to fight O'Hara Davies next. They have to start negotiating. What do you think about that?
I got to say, I mean, look, everything is a mixed bag in life, you know, but you got to give credit where credit's due. And that's the right thing to do. Like, you say whatever you want. That is the right thing to do. I don't think, like, here's the thing, man. Like, we can't create our own problems, guys. Like, boxing fans, when they see a nice shiny object, they quickly forget, you know, of all the things we complain about.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm talking about is this. I've seen so many fans just drop their principles and the things that they say they care about because they think Ryan Garcia versus Rolly Romero will be a big, extravagant event. Right? It'll be a big pay-per-view. It'll be a big event. Yeah, but do we want a sport where losers, and I mean that respectfully, guys coming off a loss, are being rewarded with title shots?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the sport you want to watch? Is that what you want to contribute to, I should add? Right?
Yeah.
I'm seeing fans like saying, oh, I want to see the Rolly fight. It's a big event. You want to see Rolly versus Ryan because you believe it'll be a big pay-per-view event. But that's for all the wrong reasons. It's not because you think it's a great fight. It's not because it's a real championship fight. Like it might be the unpopular, like, you know, like it might be the unpopular thing, right? In terms of people don't know who O'Hara Davies is, but he's the mandatory. He's earned his shot, and he deserves his shot. Mm-hmm. So give it to him. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Give him a shot. If Rolly's good enough, then he should win, right? What are you guys worried about? Now, something will happen. I'm sure there'll be some step-aside offered. Something will happen, but I hope he's forced to either vacate or something because I am getting sick and tired of the deserving people getting skipped, right? I'm just tired of it. Rolly and Ryan could fight each other without a belt being on the line. That's the frustrating part. Like, they could fight. The belt doesn't mean anything in that fight. They could fight anyway. So if you want to vacate, right? And then go fight Ryan if you want. I'm not against the fight. I'm against the fight being for a world title. That's what I'm against.
I like how O'Hara Davies is approaching this. because what he's saying is you're not going to pay me step aside money. I'm going to get litigation involved. And what does that do? He understands that O'Hara Davies without a belt is just, he's, it is what it is. But O'Hara Davies with the belt, what does that provide? It provides a Ryan Garcia with an much easier title shot at 140 to say, hey, I have a belt. It provides a Tank Davis a much easier title shot at 140 to say, hey, I'm a real, he's sort of the Pinocchio guy, the Pinocchio title holder, right? I'm a real champion now. I'm a real champion. He's no longer the Reggie. And don't doubt me on that. That really bothers Tank Davis's team. It really bothers Tank Davis's fans that he is not called a real champion, that he's called a 1-division champion instead of a 3-division champion. They have the Pinocchio syndrome over there. I'm a real titleist. No, you're not. You're not. You're a little puppet over there. You're not a real titleist. So that's what O'Hara Davies knows. He's a couple steps ahead. He knows that if he gets his hand on one of those belts, he's getting a big payday there. All right. And it's particularly if he does it through Raleigh, because Raleigh, despite what we think, Raleigh brings a circus act, and some people like watching a circus act. So O'Hara Davies knows he's in a good spot here.
Is Raleigh really the attraction people think he is, though? I mean,
I don't think so.
Like, just because he fought Tank, but it did less numbers than the Isaac Cruz fight. I mean, it did, or if it did more, just by a little bit. I mean, he was one of many Tank's 250, 200,000, whatever pay-per-view buy fights. Like, it's not like what does he really bring to the table? Like, I don't know. I just think, what annoys me about this guy? I saw a video where he's talking to Teofimo Lopez. I don't know if you saw it. I saw it on Twitter. And he's like, man, isn't this shit easy, bro? And Teofimo was like, what do you mean? It's easy. We just come, we train, we go to the ring, get paid. It's easy. And Teofimo was like, maybe for you, this shit ain't easy. Raleigh, if it's so easy, go show us how easy it is. Go defend the belt against O'Hara Davis. All right? Yep. Go show us how easy it is. It's easy work, right? Go show us. Show us how easy work it is.
Coffee and Boxing says, did you guys see Reynoso's tweet? No contract from Bivol or Benavidez. I believe it. And here's one thing that frustrates me as a boxing fan. And I've said it about guys in the lower weight class. We talked about this with Lara versus Wood, Conlon versus Lopez. It's like you don't hear what those guys are making because the fights just get made, right? I don't like this leverage out in the public. I understand why they're doing it. Bivol saying, I need this, I need that for the Canelo fight. And then Benavidez's team saying they're playing both sides of the fence, right? They're saying, oh, we already got a 3-fight contract with PBC. We already got that. We don't need Canelo. And then on the other hand, saying we're talking to Reynoso. We're talking to Reynoso. I like the dudes who just get it signed. Just get it signed. Whatever you're going to do it. Like Marlo and The Wire. Whatever you're going to do it. I got places to be. If you're going to do it. Just whatever you're going to do it.
Just do it.
And that's my frustration with the Benavidez team is I feel like it's clout chasing. I feel like they've already got their plans made, but they're going to use Canelo's name in order to continue to promote Benavidez as I'm going to attach Benavidez to Canelo. I feel like that's what's going on. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Canelo versus Benavidez gets signed tomorrow. I hope so. But if I'm hearing that Benavidez is his camp is showing up and talking to Reynoso and then no offer is being sent, what are we doing here? What are we doing? This is the reason I like certain fighters. It's the reason that Bivol's starting to rub me the wrong way as a boxing fan. It's like, get it done. Just get it done. Whatever you're going to do, get it done. We know Canelo's easy to work with. We've already seen that. Whatever you're going to do it. Get it done.
Yeah, but they know he's easy to work with, Calix, but these fighters know that the public is going to blame Canelo. And the people that know this, instead of just calling it like it is, that they say things like, yeah, well, that's the way it is, guys. We have to accept that instead of educating the public, they join the public. And they start shaming Canelo as well because, hey, I know it's unfair, but hey, heavy is the head. Canelo, if it doesn't happen, Canelo's going to get blamed. No, like you have to like stop following the herd, man. Like stop following the herd, people.
Yeah,
and call things for what they are. Canelo's easy to work with. He is, right? So no, we're not going to just blame him by definition. And if the masses blame Canelo, the masses are wrong. And if you know that the truth, then you should step up and tell people the truth instead of, well, he's a big name. He's going to get blamed for everything. It's the way it is. And like that mentality doesn't fix anything. You know what I mean? And it just enables the behavior of a lot of these fights. Now, I'm not saying Benavidez or Bivol have really done this to this degree, but it just enables the behavior of fighters playing hardball a little too much, right? Mm-hmm. And not making the fights happen in any way, shape, or form, So all I know is this. Send Canelo the offer, bro. Like, you know what I mean? If you're serious, if you send Canelo an offer and he likes it, right? Like it's a fair offer. We already seen it. He'll go to PBC. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like he'll do it. He'll. This Bivol fight should be the easiest fight ever to make.
I know.
It should be the easiest fight of all time to make. Honestly, that fight should be easy to make. If you're all adults, sit down and work it out. Like just get it done already. We're already. This is the last day of May. Right? It's time. Let's get a fight announced. You know what I mean? Like, let's get announced. Either one, I'm fine. I'm fine with either one of them. Honestly, I am. And if I'm honest, we have a lot of crybaby fans out there that don't even like Canelo, that chime in as if they have real good intentions for Canelo. I want to see that Benavidez fight because, I think that'll be a great fight for Canelo. He'll really show me that he means it. Like, what does that mean? Hasn't he shown you he means it throughout his whole career? Like, this is crazy. This is the world we're living in.
I think what irks people, I'll speak for myself. What irks me is when we keep revisiting things that have already been proven wrong a million times. There should be objective truths at this point with certain fighters. And when I see objective things try to be made out to be subjective, it starts to bother me. For instance, let's use Canelo. We're talking about him. It's already proven that he's a generous A-side. We've talked about that. If a fight's in demand, he's going to give it to you within 12 to 18 months. That's been proven over and over again. He's a great fighter. That's been proven over and over again through the resume. So that stuff we shouldn't be talking about. And it's frustrating as someone who sees the obvious when you have the kids in the back of the class chewing crayons holding up the class because they can't seem to grasp what's on the chalkboard and it's right there and it's objective truths. And when it comes to Canelo, we continue to revisit these things due to these false narratives that we have to keep pushing back on. The discussions we could be having on Canelo that the detractors bring up that are fair is he a top 3-5 Mexican fighter of all time? Those conversations. How great is he? Is he on a top 100 pound for pound list of all time? Is he still a top 4 or 5 pound? Those are fair discussions, right? Those are fair discussions. The matchup discussions. Does he translate to 175? How will he do against the other younger fighters at 168? Fair discussions. But when they start to bring the other stuff, it's the same thing with Lomachenko right now. It just bothers me. And it particularly bothers me when they do this to fighters who give you the fights. And we'll talk about two other ones. Teofimo, Josh Taylor, two other guys that give you the fight.
They use false logic.
False logic, but Vasily, I'm saying the craziest things when it comes to Lomachenko. You feel like Devin Haney got 7 rounds. Fine. That's fine. I see smart people saying that's fine. But what we're not going to do is say, I don't think Lomachenko is a Hall of Famer because he's 17-3 in an old era. No, we're not doing that. I don't think Lomachenko is a great fighter. If you want to say that Lomachenko is not the greatest fighter of our era, like ESPN was saying, fair. Once again, fair discussion. But what we're not going to do is make objective things subjective because it is not subjective whether Lomachenko is great or good. He's great. I'm sorry to break it to you. He's great. I'm sorry
for the Haney fans. He's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, if Haney's a good fighter or a great fighter, well, you can't have it both ways. Loma can be a hype job that got exposed, but then Haney's a great fighter. You can't have it both ways. You know what I mean? But like, I guess the like I'm reading the tweet from Reynoso, and he's basically calling them out. He's like, "Yo, man, where are you guys' offers? We're waiting for offers here. Like, none of these teams, and I already know what people are going to do. They'll say, well, you're the A side. You send the offers. Like, okay, but like when I say, well, like, look.
How bad do you want to fight? If you wanted to fight that bad, like would you have signed another extension? I'm just saying.
If I say, well, then fuck it. Canelo should send him the offer, and Benavidez should go fight and match him. Why should he go there? Nobody likes the zone. Canelo's done it before. Canelo isn't like that. He's willing to go elsewhere. So if he doesn't, I'm going to use it against him. Nah, fuck that bullshit. Right? Stop using people doing great things against him in the future if it doesn't make logical sense. It's bullshit. Him being a generous A-side, you don't get to use it against him. You don't get to say, well, he's been generous before, so he should always be generous, even if it's unfair, because he needs to make it happen. No, you're being a jerk. You're being a jackass when you say things like that. That's just the truth, all right? At the end of the day, all right, these dudes aren't fucking... Samson said they're going to send him an offer. So Reynoso's lying. Samson, send us the proof of the facts or the proof of email, something. Show it to us. Show us proof that you sent the offer and call out Reynoso for lying. We want to see this fight. And if Reynoso's lying, we need Samson to expose him, if that's the case. Is he lying? Or maybe you haven't got into it yet, right? Maybe he put the offer on a mule and it's on its way to San Diego right now. Right? It's on its way. Maybe that's the case. If that's the case, just tell us that. Tell us you mailed it in traditional U.S. mail and it just hasn't got it to the mailbox yet. Right? Because it takes literally, like, if I start to send an offer now, I could have it out by yesterday. That's how fast you could have shit out today. All right? That shit on the mule, bro. Like, it's on its way to Canelo right now. Like, do you not want the fight? Like, what if Bibble sends an offer before you do, and then Bibble gets the fight? What are you doing?
I always tell people lean on track record. Just go off the track record. Who easily makes fights? Who in a decade has made one meaningful fight? I'm just telling you, like, go off the track record. Just go off the track. This isn't difficult. It's not complex. Go off the track record, and that's where the truth is, right there. It rarely ever fails. That's it. Go off the track record, right?
Look. Just go out the track record, but be reasonable. Like, look, if there was an offer, okay, like if it turns out Reynoso's lying, I don't see why he would lie, but let's say he's lying, then I'm going to call out Reynoso. I'm going to be like, what do you mean? Like, Samson sent you an offer, bro? And you're out here saying they didn't send you an offer? What's that about? If you didn't like the offer, just say you don't like it, right? But you see how I can tell you that? Like, I'm going to keep that same energy, like, whether it's out or not. Like, a lot of these dudes, they're waiting for something to happen, Calix, and then their reaction is anti-Canelo. Like, that's what it is. Wait for something to happen. What's the circumstance? What's the feel look like? Okay, it's Canelo's fault. All right. I'm not gonna tell you what I think should happen. I'm gonna wait for something to happen, and I'm gonna blame Canelo anyway. Right? That's how people are moving when it comes to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to go out and say, hey, if Benavidez hasn't sent an offer, then hey, that's on Benavidez, bro. You got to get on your team ASAP. What's up, Samson? Why haven't you sent the offer? Most people are not going to do that. They're not going to hold their feet to the fire. They're not going to do that. They're going to blame Canelo. They're going to say something like, watch, mark my words. Well, Canelo's the A side. Well, why are these guys sending offers? He should send the offer. What's wrong with Canelo? Is he a real A-side or what? That's what they're going to do. But if Canelo sends an offer, oh, come on. He wants him to go to Matchroom, the zone, but he knows he's got a contract. He went over there for Plant. He's a free agent. Why does he go over there? Like, it doesn't matter what he does. Like, there's people that are programmed to go anti-Canelo no matter what. Right? Like, I'm going to criticize him no matter what he does. It'll be a witch hunt no matter what. He could give me more than any boxer in the last 3 years, but I will hold his feet to the, and I will say things that are convenient. Like, Well, I hold him to that's the best one. Well, I hold him to a higher regard, so therefore that's it. It doesn't matter what I criticize. It doesn't matter if my criticism is unreasonable. I know it's a double standard. I know I don't hold other fighters to the same standard. But all I have to say, my get out of free jail card is I hold him to a higher standard, right? Why? Because he's popular? In terms of being an elite fighter, other fighters are elite as well, and you don't see them doing this stuff. Most, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like, dude, like, don't tell me, Samson, you're going to send an offer, and then Reynoso comes out, and there's no offer. Somebody's lying. That's all I know. Someone's telling a lie.
Both of those can't be true, and track record tells me that I'm pretty sure I know who is not in the right here. We got a question.
And I'll tell you, I'll go on record. A lot of people, they don't want to go on record with Canelo shit. I'll go on record. If it turns out that Reynoso's lying, I will ask the obvious question. Why the fuck were you lying? They didn't send you an offer. Okay? Mm-hmm. You see how easy that is? You see how I'm not acting stupid? Like, well, I don't know. I got to wait and see. And maybe Reynoso didn't check his junk mail. You know, like maybe he didn't check the yard for the mule. Maybe the mule got there with a letter. All right? I don't know. All I'm saying is someone's lying. Right? And I'll be honest, Calix, if Samson sends an offer today or tomorrow, I don't even give a fuck he was lying before. I just want an offer to be sent.
Yeah.
And let's get the show on the road. Bivol, what are you doing? I know. You want the fight at 168. Oh, okay, cool. But Canelo wants it at 175. You know, and you know what's funny? Here's the thing. People always say things like, Canelo never takes advantage of his A side, so he should never use it. Right? He is A-siding Bivol when he says, no, the fight's going to be at 175. I'm not going to fight you. He is A-siding him. You know what? And what? And what? He's A-siding him 170. And what? What are you fuckers going to do about it? He wants it at 175. He's going to A-side him. Oh, he never A-sides. You guys say things like that to praise Canelo, but you're doing it to use it against him. That's why you're doing it. Oh, he never A-sides guys. And now all of a sudden, I think something. Now, you know what? He's A-side. How about that? He's A-siding him. Find him 175, or let's move on. That's it. That's it. That is an A-side move. People would say Canelo never A-sides. He doesn't A-side as much. He doesn't abuse his A-side. But in this case, he's using it. He's saying, no. I'm going to use my A-side to give you the advantage, Bivol. Okay, I'm using my A side to move up to your neighborhood and fight you at your best weight class, and I'm the little guy moving up. And yes, I'm saying he's a little guy. That's another dude you can't say that about. Well, I'm tired of people saying he's a little guy. He's a little guy. What do you mean? He started boxing at welterweight. Well, are you guys blind? You don't see that he's a little guy? Oh, you can't say that. Don't say he's a little guy. You bother. Let it bother you. I don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck anymore if things bother people. I just don't care. Yes, he's A-siding Bivol. You're going to fight him on one side. He's A-siding him, and I love it. It's about time he starts using his A-side. It's just time, bro. You know that friend that's always nice to people and he gets taken advantage of, and you're just there like, bro, you got to stop that shit, bro. You know, and when your friend finally stands up for yourself, you're like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. You know, that's how I feel. Have you seen the movie Bad Boys?
Yeah.
When it's like, now that's how you drive. From now on, that's how you drive. That's how you A-side motherfuckers. Start using it. You're the old dude. You're the active guy. You have injuries, okay? You've been fighting everybody in your division. These guys haven't fought shit. Start using your A-side. Start flexing those A-side muscles. It's about time. Because you know why? Because being nice doesn't work anyway. They use it against you. When Tank does it, why? Yeah, but that's how Tank is, right? You know that side of the street. You know how they are. You know, so they give him a pass, right? For Canelo, oh, Canelo, come on. You're better than that. Now, fuck that bullshit. I'm glad he's A-siding Bivol. He's A-siding with the 175 thing. He is. He's A-siding him and saying, no, it's going to be a 175. You want to fight or what?
Yeah. I just want the fights. Whatever they are, I just want them. Now, Nando saying, When will he become his own boss, finance his own fights? GBP founded in 2002. Is Oscar the only fighter that really went out and built the infrastructure to do it? Because we know Mayweather Promotions was more of a, I don't know if I can say this, but I'll say it, a money laundering, money washing scheme. Basically,
yeah,
a dry
it
cleaner.
just became like one of the puppet promotional companies under Al Heyman.
But is Oscar the only person who's went out and built the infrastructure to actually do it? And I don't know if Canelo is really interested in building that infrastructure, because that it's difficult. Because you go into something else, you're not only managing your own career, you're managing other fighters or promoting other fighters. Unless he just wants to build his own company to promote himself. I don't know. I don't know why he's not done it. I'm not sure. Does he feel like he needs to? I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest. But just from what I've seen, I think Oscar's the only one who really went out and built that infrastructure. And I'm assuming that it's a difficult.
Well, yes and no, though. It's what Oscar did. This is what I'll give him credit for, right? He surrounded himself with the right people, like Schaefer, Eric Gomez, like, you know what I mean? And they built the infrastructure, and he was smart enough to allow them to use his likeness, the Golden Boy, Golden Boy Promotions, and he launched it, but with his fight, I believe, with Ricardo Mayorga, and then like the Mayweather fight, and then he launched it to sign fighters. And what happened with Oscar, that he fell asleep on the wheel, like, you know what I mean, like the drug problems and his erratic behavior, his impulsive behavior. You see it on Twitter right now. Look what's happening with Ryan. Mm-hmm. The guy is like, didn't you consult with Ryan before saying some of this shit? And this sounds, it looks very familiar, Calix. It's looking like the Canelo situation. I remember, like, Oscar would be saying things about who Canelo's going to fight next, and Canelo was like, I don't know what Oscar talk about. Oscar crazy. Like, don't listen to Oscar. Like that's what he would say about his promoter, bro. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine a Katie Taylor telling people, don't listen to Eddie Hearn. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, what? Like, that's like not a thing, bro. You don't say that about your promoter. Like, you know what I mean? So it's starting to happen with Ryan right now.
It is.
Like, like that's what's happening. But to answer your question really quick, I'm not taking away credit from the success of Golden by saying he surrounded himself with the right people. That's what a smart person does. Like, you surround yourself with people that know what you're doing. Like, Schaefer was the one that brought in all the sponsors. Right. You know what I mean? And he's the one that all the weaknesses we see right now with Oscar, he's all over the place, bro. That's why you need a matchmaker, Oscar. Okay? And Roberto Diaz was there. You would have him talk to Ryan. You don't got to be tweeting out dumb shit and you're not aligned with your own fighter on what's going on. He would be talking, and he'll come back to you and be like, oh, he wants to fight Raleigh. You know what I mean? And then you work that out. But Oscar, I don't know, like, in order for Canelo to have a successful company, though, he could do it because all he has to do, Calix, is surround himself with the right people. Mm-hmm. He's done it. Like, he owns gas stations in Mexico. He has, like, I saw he had like his own energy drink, and then you have people like criticizing it, right? Like broke ass motherfuckers on Twitter are like yeah, buddy, that's just a sponsorship. He doesn't own that energy drink. Like, regardless of which one it is, he's still making money off of it. Like, whether they're sponsoring him and using his face, whether he's partial owner of it, whether he owns those gas stations or they have to just pay him for using his name. Like, he's still making money, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he just has to surround himself with the right people. And I think he's more level-headed to maintain the ship, not like Oscar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think. He might be more successful than Oscar if he does it, to be honest.
It may be a 1-2 thing too, because as HLD,
I just want to call it Canelo Promotion. I don't like that name, Canelo Promotion.
As HLD brings up, he moves smart to build this company, but building and maintaining are two different things. And he's maintained it for 21 years. Yes, with some ups and downs. So
he just had to let people run it, brother. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, the Ryan thing right now, there's obviously a rift between Ryan's inner circle and Golden Boy as a whole. You know, Goosen not there anymore. When Oscar's saying we have a meeting on Tuesday publicly, and then Ryan's advisor manager is saying we don't have a meeting. I don't know what he's even talking about. There's a rift there. Yeah. There's a rift, and I hope they can get something together because Ryan is contractually obligated to Oscar until the end of 2026. Jesus. The zone has something to do with it because Ryan didn't like the zone and the issues they were having with his pay-per-view, which is understandable. And you had issues with that pay-per-view. It's clear at this point to talk about the network part of this D-style.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
They all have advantages and disadvantages. And with Showtime, it's clear at this point that Showtime knows how to put on pay-per-views better at this point than DAZN and ESPN, correct? Because there's no commercials in between rounds. There's no trouble ordering the fight. Showtime seems to have a leg up there. Now, the disadvantage to Showtime is if you are not a pay-per-view type fighter, you're not going to get your dates, number one. And number two, it's clear at this point that ESPN in particular, those fights, the regular fights, not the pay-per-views, the regular fights get much better exposure. And this is what I was tweeting out initially. And then I started to get Leonard come at me and explain to me that it's apples to oranges when that's what I'm pointing out. It's apples to oranges. ESPN has a much bigger reach, wider reach than Showtime. And he comes flying off the top rope agreeing with me. And then I have people sending me links to a dude, I'm not going to mention his name, with 120,000 subscribers coming after me and agreeing with me at the same time, which makes me confused. I'm serious.
What's it say his name?
But mine is Showtime. Showtime has less reach when it comes to non-pay-per-view events, but pay-per-view events they seem to be putting on better. So you may see bigger name fighters like Ryan say, I'd rather go work with Showtime for my pay-per-view events than DAZN. That's understandable, but he's contractually obligated till the end of 2026. And this is what I continue to tell people is you're trying to fan.
No, has Ryan said that out loud, or did he tweet that out or something?
That Dan Raphael Substack this morning said something to that effect. Now, I don't think he came out and said it, but they seem to be implying it. But my point here is there are clear advantages, disadvantages, right? But what I don't want to see people continue to do is fanage fighters into signing long-term contracts, because you're signing these long-term contracts with high minimums and you're locking yourself down to certain networks. And now Ryan for another 2.5 years to where he may be in a Mikey Garcia situation, a Ryan Garcia situation, to where an Andre Ward situation in which he doesn't want to be contractually obligated to a contract that he signed. All right. So I'd rather the fighter take the 3-fight deal than the 5-fight deal, the 3-fight deal than the 8-fight deal. I'd rather the fighter take that. It's a better move for everybody, in my opinion. Here's what I wanted to say about a fight coming up Saturday, because this is a slow week. And I have something else to say about that as well, is Clarissa Shields is the main event. I'm so tired of the victim stuff, D-style. Like, Clarissa Shields needs to come to the understanding that a lot of people just don't enjoy watching her fight. When you're a dominant fighter, when you're that much better than your competition, it's one of the reasons I like Bud Crawford is he understands he's that much better than his peers. So he's going for the knockout. I want to see Clarissa Shields, stop with the victim stuff. All right. I want to see you go after knockouts, go for knockouts. If you're the GOAT, if you're the greatest female fighter of all time, to me, you should be getting knockouts against much inferior competition that you're facing. And I want to hear less of the victim talk. Oh, woe is me. Everybody hates me. Everybody wants me to do this and do that. And she's going after everybody. Go knock some people out. That's all I'm asking for. The females you're fighting are much inferior to you. Go knock some people out.
Look, I'll give her credit for the Marshall fight. I think the Marshall fight was a great fight. She was very aggressive for half of that fight for sure. I thought it was really close though. But she doesn't do herself a service by the way she's trying to gaslight what happened in that fight. Like she's going out of her way to paint a picture that wasn't there. Like she didn't dominate that. Dominate is not the right word for that fight, right? That doesn't belong in the vocabulary of describing that fight. I walked her down the whole fight. No, you did not. I saw you in the ropes a lot, Clarissa. You didn't win any rounds. Yes, you did. Like you know what I mean? Like this was a very close fight. Like that's the reality. But she's trying to gaslight people and paint a picture that isn't there because that image of winning easy is so important to her. You know what I mean? But here you have your Hector, if you're Achilles, and you're trying to paint her like she's some bum. Yeah. Well, if Marshall's a bum, what does that make the rest of your field? Then we have to question how good a competition is. And then you get mad, you get angry because people have maybe Katie Tater, Cameron rated higher than you because their level of competition, if you look at the raw numbers, not even close. But there you have a Marshall that you could say, oh, look at this great fighter, Marshall. If anybody didn't think I was a great fighter, look at my fight with Marshall. She brought everything. She's a great fighter, and I got to win over her. What do you got to say now? But she doesn't do that. She's part of this new culture because you see the thing with the Mayweather era, it's not just the O. It's not just the zero. It's the attitude towards the victories, right? Yeah. If you go back in the era before that, they would talk about these great fights. You know what I mean? Like they would talk about Ray Leonard versus, Hagler and what a great fight that was. And, they would talk about Duran versus Leonard. What a great fight that was. And I hate to go back to the Four Kings, but all their fights, all great fights. Ali, Frazier, they will talk about the rivalries and what they meant and this and that, right? What came with the O is also the gaslighting after fights, and I've seen it several times, okay? A lot of you motherfuckers gaslight. I'm sorry. Shields gaslighted after the Marshall fight. She gaslighted the fuck out of that fight. She tried to paint a picture, and her fan base, some of them, even they don't show up to her fights. You know what I mean? Can you guys show up to her event at least? Can you pay for a ticket to one of her fights instead of just talking shit with her on Twitter? But she's talking shit about Marshall, right? Oh, that was easy work. It's an easy work mentality. Oh, that was easy work. And that fight was easy. You made it look easy, champ. And I'm thinking to myself, what do these people watch? Broner used to do it all the time. He did after the Malignaggi fight. Oh, that was easy. Paulie was no sweat. I don't know, bro. You looked like you were sweating to me. You know what I mean? Another one, Cruz versus Tank. Bro, Tank and Floyd. Floyd was like shaming people that even suggested that it was close. There was a report that said, hey, Tank, this was such a great fight, such a close fight. What do you think you learned from this challenge? And then Tank goes, oh, you think that was a close fight? And then Floyd starts to shame the reporter. Like, he starts doing this. Yeah, Tank, these guys, they don't know boxing. You know what I mean? Well, what can you expect? He thinks that was a close fight. These guys, they never laced them up. They don't know what. That's you're gaslighting. That's what you're doing. Haney fans did it. Haney fans are acting like he just dominated Lomachenko or something. Like it wasn't a close fight or something. Right? Like, oh, I thought Haney won easy. I gave him a 10-2, they're saying. I saw them saying 10-2. I saw people saying it was easy work. And, oh, he made Lomachenko look stupid. You're gaslighting. You're either gaslighting yourself or trying to gaslight other people or your group. Right? That's what you're doing. Cut it out. It doesn't help or do any favors for you. Because if we take your gaslighting at face value, so okay, Tank, so you're saying the Cruz fight wasn't a tough fight. So it was an easy fight. So it further reinforces that you're not fighting anybody. You're not fighting good competition. Okay, that's number one. Second, Clarissa, if Marshall ain't shit, if we believe you're gaslighting, well, I guess nobody in your division is shit. So when we compare you to the other women in other divisions, don't get mad if you're not number one, right? In the case of Adrian Broner, I guess I guess Malignaggi was a weak link champion, even weaker than we thought. If you know what I mean, like, I guess we do got to question you fighting for that belt even more, right? So that's what we have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Shields contributes to that, and that's my issue, Calix, the gaslighting. I don't like the gaslighting. I don't like the acting like she had it easy in that Marshall fight when she didn't. And here she has this opportunity to tell people what a great fight this was, and she did it. She did it all right after the fight. She said she can't take any of these things back. That's the crazy part. She said she hit me so hard on the side of my head that I couldn't see out of one eye for the last 4 rounds. That's what she said. I don't know if it was 4, but whatever amount it was. And she said she hits hard. That was the toughest fight of my career. She brought it. And the next day on Twitter, she goes and she said, "Oh, that was easy work. I don't know what y'all talking about, close fight." She's lucky if she won 2 rounds. That's gaslighting, and people don't like that, bro. You know what I mean? People don't like being told that they didn't see what they saw.
Yeah.
People don't like it. And another thing, and it goes back to what you were talking about. If you go to a top ranked card and they don't feature you on camera and put the camera in front of you and like, oh my God, the votes in the building, and she was getting mad because they weren't like pulling out the red carpet for her, bro. And it's like, okay, are you going to that event because you want to see that fight? Or are you doing it because you want all this praise? You know what I mean? Like, and then when you voice out how upset you are that you didn't get all this praise, it just comes off as entitled. Like, it just does. You're like, who are you? Like, why should Top Rank care? Like I'm not saying they should or they shouldn't, but they're not required to do any of that. They're just not. I seen them put the camera on like other world champions, and they don't do all this hoopla. Like, it is what it is, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the victim mentality I talked about. And one thing I'll say about that, everything you said real quick, is stop devaluing some of your best wins. Because I've talked about this. Being a fan of both Canelo and Golovkin, particularly Canelo, one of the few people that's a fan of both, I see a lot of devaluing going on both sides. Not the fighters. The fighters respect each other from both tents of the extreme fans. Is, you know, you shouldn't be devaluing Golovkin, because I feel like that second fight, Canelo fought a great fight. To me, that was his best performance against a great fighter. Given all the circumstances, that was a great performance by Canelo. And I don't like when the Canelo superfans devalue what he did there by devaluing Golovkin as a fighter. And the same thing in the flip is Golovkin being attached to Canelo forever by going through a trilogy with him, 2 tough fights initially, taking Canelo to that 5th gear. He's forever attached to him. So as a Golovkin super fan out there, why would you want to devalue Canelo in any way and call him overrated when that's your biggest claim to fame? Your fighter's biggest claim to fame is being attached to Canelo. I don't understand it. I've never understood why you want to devalue some of your best wins. I don't get that. I gave people a bit of advice earlier on leaning on track record. Here's another that's going to be important this week: is stay away from clickbait, because, you know, I see it with Teofimo Lopez this week. You know, don't value so much what these fighters do outside the ring to where it overwhelms what they're actually doing in the ring. That would be my advice, because you're going to start to see these quotes come out from Teofimo as the fight gets closer. You saw some yesterday. He wants to kill somebody, give a body in the ring. All this stuff is, look, today more than ever, you're going to get more clickbait than ever. And unfortunately, you're going to get fans relying or weighing heavily who they like on what's going on outside the ring. Why? Because the guys are fighting less. And look, we have a good friend, D-Style, who covers the NBA full-time now.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hailstorm Sports, basketballnews.com. But the good thing about basketball, for instance, is they constantly have something to talk about. They got an 82 game season. After that, they got the draft. After that, they got free agency. During this, they got summer league. During the season, they got the trade deadline. They constantly have basketball, actual basketball to talk about. Same thing with football. Same thing with baseball. They have the actual sport to talk about. The issue with boxing these days is there's very little action in between, even in a busy schedule, to where when you have a week like this in particular, people just start to eat each other alive because you have these content creators who rely heavily. It's their job, right? It's their career to get clicks. So they're going to start reaching on weeks like this. They're going to start reaching heavy. And that's when you're going to start to get nonsense like this. And what I would tell people is you're going to start to see some negative stuff being said about Teofimo, maybe Josh Taylor. Don't fault these guys. Rely heavily on what they're doing inside the ring. This is what I value about both those fighters is they both fight the fights. Josh Taylor had one of the toughest runs to undisputed. He had some upsets in the process. He beat Regis Prograis. He beat Jose Ramirez. Teofimo Lopez had one of the best wins in the modern era against Lomachenko. I view that win heavily, especially during the time when they're fighting in an empty ballroom, splitting $4 million when they could have said, let's just push it back, more money after that. They both fought each other. Teofimo is giving us the fights. Despite what he does outside of the ring, despite the stupid stuff he's saying, he's giving you the fights. He's giving you Lomachenko in the middle of a pandemic. He's giving you the Josh Taylor fight. People didn't think he was going to fight Josh Taylor. He fights Josh Taylor. All right. So I understand we can talk about his limitations. We can talk about the mental capacity that doesn't seem to be there. There seems to be, when you have a guy who did that great against Lomachenko and all of a sudden he starts to look seriously flawed, there is some mental stuff that's bleeding in to what's going on in the ring. Right.
Yeah. And that's part of boxing,
their
right?
game. But what I'm saying is, don't let this clickbait stuff get in the way of what these guys are doing in the ring, despite what we think is, Teofimo may be one of those guys that was a shooting star, and now he's coming right back down. We may think that, but he's still giving us the fights. Josh Taylor's still delivering us the fights. So I want people to focus less on the clickbait that's going to be coming up on a week like this where there's just nothing to talk about. Clarissa Shields is the main event, dude. There's nothing to talk about this week. And the news cycle is slow.
Well,
they're going to be reaching. They are going to be reaching this week, D-Style. They're going to be reaching for clicks. So stay away from it. Stay away from that and focus on what these fighters are actually doing in the ring, because Teofimo and Josh Taylor are giving us the fights.
I just want to give everybody a reality check before. I'm a numbers guy. I know you're a numbers guy too. All right. You're probably more of a numbers guy than me. But here's the thing. I was going to share this with people, and this is not in any way, shape, or form me trying to be demeaning or nothing like that. Okay. I just got to keep it real with you guys. All right. This is the entire division of Clarissa Shields, okay? Clarissa Shields, she's 13-0, right? Number 2 in her division is 10-8, almost batting a 500 record.
Yeah.
She has more losses and draws combined than wins.
Yeah.
Olivia Curry, 7-1. Olivia, there's 2 Olivias, bro. What a chance. 19-20. And she's number 4 in the world, bro. The girl she's fighting is 16-5. Already has losses to Franchon Cruz. She lost not that long ago either. 3-1, 1-2, 1-0, 10-1, 4-4. Like I'm just saying, look at all these women with losses.
Yep.
And that's it. That's the division. That's it. It ends right there. It ends at 31 participants, and you saw more than half have losing records. So you don't have room to try to. You should be bigging up Marshall, okay? You should be telling her how great of a fighter she is, so your win looks better. What are you doing? Devaluing your own biggest win. Well, shout out to those women. They still get in the ring, and I have respect for everybody that gets in the ring. This is not in any way, shape, or form. It's not their fault that there isn't that many participants in the world in that division, right? But you go to Katie Taylor's division, there's over 100 women.
Yeah.
Right? And the division just north and south of her, again, have dozens of really good fighters. I'm just saying.
You should be knocking dudes out.
Girls
You
out.
should be knocking dudes out.
Girls out.
I call them dudes too. I mean, the girls. Dude, you should be knocking them out. Knock them out. Just knock them out.
Who is there, bro?
You got any thoughts on what I said about Josh?
Yes, 100%. Look, Josh Taylor is somebody that, look, I'll keep it real. When I actually, and I remember I did a show with you when we actually covered the pre-fight for that fight.
Yeah.
Taylor Prograis. It was such a big fight too. Like it was such a 50-50 fight. It was just refreshing to see two fighters in a tournament, by the way, about to face each other in a unification fight. And I had Taylor in that fight, and you had Prograis. I still scored the fight for Prograis, though, believe it or not. I had 7-5 Prograis when I watched it, but
yeah.
It could have gone either way. I mean, I get it, but what a great fight. Like, he didn't lose points to me because I felt he lost that fight.
Right. He
gained points with me because he took that fight. Prograis just wasn't a dude. Prograis is the guy you say, well, why now? We should wait till it gets bigger. We should build it up, and then go fight Ramirez instead or something, right? But he fought him, right? Like, and I don't want to hear, he had to. It was a tournament. Darrell had to fight Ward. It was a tournament, but guess what? He found a way out of that tournament when the time came. And guess what? That behavior of Darrell, contrast to the behavior of Ward, later showed. We saw why he pulled out, right? So Taylor, to have that confidence to go in there, and I still remember the face-off too. It was one of the best face-offs I've seen. But they're both confident. They both looked extremely confident. And I remember Prograis looked at him and said, I'm going to fuck you up. I remember he told him that. And Taylor was like, oh, yeah. Like, he looked excited when he said this. Like, you know what I mean? And I remember I got pumped up. You know what I mean? And that's who Josh Taylor is. He's a guy that takes on all comers. He didn't say, who's Prograis? Nobody knows who he is. No one watches his fights. And nobody knows him in his own hometown. No, he fought him.
Yeah.
Right? He fought the dude. Like I have to respect that. Then he went to fight for Undisputed against Jose Ramirez. That fight was not, from what I remember, was not difficult to make. He signed with Top Rank. He made it happen. Boom, let's go. Right? He fought his mandatory in Catterall. He won, but I don't think he won, but whatever, right? He's been inactive for a while, but at the end of the day, I give credit to him because he's done it. He's gone in there, like you said, early on. He was not supposed to be like, when people looked at the field, they did not say, oh, that's the guy. They were looking at Prograis that way. People were looking at Prograis like, okay, that's a dude, right? But guess what? He fought the guy they said was the dude to show otherwise. So I got to give him credit for that. Teofimo, even as a prospect, bro, was fighting veterans like Magdaleno. As a prospect.
Yeah.
And then he fought Nakatani for no belt. Yep. Like this was an undefeated Nakatani. Like no belt on the line. You know what I mean? Tall dude, dangerous. We saw what he did to Verdejo, right? Goes in there, has a tough fight with them. And it goes back to what he said about the mental issues. Like he wasn't all there for that fight, but he won. Then he knocks out Comey. He did what you were just talking about. Knock these dudes out, make a statement. He made a statement. Yeah. He got that IBF. Loma wanted that IBF. So people said, oh, Loma dug Taney. Nah, he wanted to do unification against Teofimo. And it was easier to make because they were both with Top Rank. That's all that happened. It's not that complicated. Right? They did that unification fight. And then I forget what it was, 4-1, whatever it was, 3-1, 5-1. I forgot what it was. Underdog goes in there and beats Lomachenko
3-1
and beat him. By the way the Haney fans are acting like Haney beat him.
And he did it in an empty ballroom.
He did it for less money. He took a pay cut. People, boxing fans just forget all these things. They just forget these things. They give guys no credit for these things. It is what it is. I have issues with some of the stuff Teofimo's been saying, but that aside, I'm still gonna give the man his flowers for the things he has done. Right?
Yep.
Can't take that away. Right? Bobby Fischer, one of the greatest chess players of all time. Sure, he went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, lost his mind, said a lot of crazy shit towards the end of his life, but I'm not going to discredit him for what he did in the chess world, right? The same with Teofimo. You can never take that away from Teofimo.
Yeah.
What he accomplished that year. And he beat Lomachenko, and he beat him in such decisive fashion that no one debated it. No one said it was controversial. He beat him clear without debate. The way I believe it would have been if Lomachenko would have gotten a decision against Haney, there would have been no debate. It would have just been accepted widely much more. It's my opinion. But he did it in a more decisive fashion than even Loma did it against Haney, in my opinion. Like he did it in decisive fashion. It was a great performance. And of course, we know what happened after that. But guess what? He still fought his mandatory. He didn't get any of the belts. He still went in there and he fought. Right? He lost the fight. It is what it is. But he fought Cambozas. All right. Speaking of Cambozas, here you have a former unified champion. Fought in a stadium and then fought in an arena. A lot of people were there, were supporting him, even though the odds were against him. You got to put him in Oklahoma after that, right? Like that's the spot. Oklahoma, Australia. Is that a city in Australia?
It is not.
No? Oh, it's a state? Oklahoma?
It's a state in America.
I just don't understand why they put that fight in Oklahoma, bro. And then I don't know what, like, does Top Rank have a contract with Oklahoma? Remember they put Franco Maloney in Oklahoma? I don't get it. Like, they have a lot of fights in Oklahoma. I'm telling you. Like, watch the Top Rank schedule. They love Oklahoma, bro. It must be the barbecue.
It must be. Or it's the high site fee. But
why not do another fight there? Why Cambozas in Oklahoma? Like, what am I missing, bro? I don't understand.
My theory is it's on an Indian reservation, so they want to see two white dudes beat each other up. But
but it's not even like the right white dude. It's like a Greek Australian. Like I don't know. I'm trying to, like, what are you doing? Like, just fight in Australia.
It is the highest site fee. It's lazy. It's short, and people are telling me, look, I got writers telling me this on Twitter. It's they're obviously there's a longer term game to feed Kambosos to one of these other fighters. I get all that, but there's no reason putting this in Oklahoma. There are other. They can't do the fight on pay-per-view in Australia. They can't, because there's a single person apparently who owns the rights to pay-per-views in Australia, from what I'm hearing. So they couldn't put this fight on pay-per-view in Australia in order to make the money, to generate the money to put on the fight. Okay,
they could have worked something out.
They could have worked something out, but okay, fair enough. Do it in New York. Do it in LA. Do it
in Oklahoma, brother. That's where it's at.
I guess so. I guess Oklahoma is the new hotspot. I don't know. I don't know. It's just frustrating.
It is. It probably is an Indian reservation. I know Grant's saying that in chat, but I mean, and then you put it right in the middle of the country. Yeah. So, like, if any Australian wants to travel, it's harder to travel now. Like, they got to pay more. Like, at least put in the coast somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, they could save a little bit. Like, the 10 Australians that would have shown up can't show up now. Bro, that's too much money to go watch that fight. I'm sorry. But if you do it in Australia, then don't do it on pay-per-view in Australia. It doesn't have to be pay-per-view. What, are you going to do it on pay-per-view in Oklahoma? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Oklahoma was not the spot for this.
Now, how do you go? Like, bro, you win the titles at the Garden Theater in New York. It's not the big house, but still, right? It's New York City, right? If you can make it there, you can make it anywhere except Melbourne because you didn't make it there. You lost. But stadium in Melbourne. And then, yeah, they downgraded to an arena, but it was still a packed arena, right? And then you go from that to Oklahoma? Like, what? Man.
And people are going to throw out reasons as to why. I'm just telling you, those are all short-term reasons. And we need to be, there's a rebuild of Cambosos that has to happen. And there just doesn't seem to be a long-term thinking.
Bro, they could have given Matthew McCall, let's do Stevie Sparks, Cambosos at 140 or a Catway, whatever. Let's do a big event in Australia. Like, you know what I mean? And that's a great fight.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me it's not a great fight.
It's a great fight.
And you could do it in Australia. They love domestic fights over there.
Yep.
Mundine Green, like that was like one of the biggest events ever over there. You know, like just do it.
Yep.
But I don't know, man. Oklahoma, not even LA. I mean, just cut to El Paso at that point. I mean, shit. If you're gonna go to Oklahoma, I mean,
you're right. Go to the boxing hotbeds. Now, I wanted to put this out there once again. HCPBoxingTribe@gmail.com. Make sure to send us an email if you want to get on the mailing list. Just send us. It can be a blank email. Just put in the subject mailing list, and we will add you to the mailing list for daily newsletters, as well as schedule for the upcoming week as to when we're doing podcasts, any schedule changes, etc. We're going directly to, and this is your way to get at us, because I'm telling you, as a YouTube content creator, we don't always get the comments. I'm trying to scroll through comments. I have something pop up and then I go to look for it and it's not there. I don't know. It's YouTube not the way it used to be a decade ago.
Yeah, YouTube makes a decision to delete some comments for some reason. Like their algorithm is all messed up. Like just let me decide.
The algorithm just makes it difficult. Twitter is a place where you go to network and get breaking news. TikTok and Instagram are tougher to read the comments. It's just not intimate enough. This is a way to get directly to people. And oh, by the way, for you to get directly at us. You have questions, you have stuff you want to talk to us about, you have an issue with what we said during the show, hit us up. Hit us up. Ask us. We're going to see the emails. All right. And you're going to see the emails. So that's the way to do it. We can directly talk to each other and get this going.
Yeah, so, and anyone who came in late, by the way, just go back, check out the interview with Ginny Fuchs. Is that how she said? Fuchs. Yeah. There you go.
There you go. And we are on the round table tomorrow. What time is that?
Every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern. It'll be on my channel tomorrow. Make sure you're there.
All right. Appreciate y'all rolling through. Check out the interview. God bless.